You can cut the cost of college with transfer credit and still make one expensive mistake, ignoring financial aid because you assume you won't qualify. Students do this all the time. They look at their income, their parents' income, their age, or an aid package from years ago and decide the FAFSA probably isn't worth the trouble. Then they start paying tuition, taking loans, or trying to cover school one term at a time without ever checking what money may have been available. The FAFSA is not a scholarship. It is not a loan application. It is the financial doorway colleges and government programs use to determine your eligibility for several different forms of aid. That distinction matters because completing one application can affect access to federal grants, work-study, federal student loans, state programs, and, in some cases, institutional aid offered by the college itself. The College Credit Playbook organizes college funding into three broad sources: federal and state aid, aid offered by individual colleges, and private scholarships or grants. The mistake is treating these sources as if you must choose one. You don't. The real strategy is stacking them. You may qualify for a federal grant. Your state may have another program. Your college may offer a departmental scholarship. A private organization may award you $500. You may complete transferable credits outside the university and reduce the number of expensive courses you need to take there. Each move attacks the cost from a different direction. That's how students need to think about paying for college. Don't ask, how am I going to find $20,000? Ask, how much of this $20,000 can I make disappear before I pay anything? That's a completely different problem. Start with the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid. If you're attending college in the United States and pursuing eligible federal student aid, this should be one of the first financial tasks you complete for the academic year. The FAFSA collects financial and household information used in the federal student aid process. Colleges listed on the application receive FAFSA information and use it when building financial aid offers. This is where students sometimes get confused. Filing the FAFSA does not mean you are agreeing to borrow money. You are applying to be considered for aid. What you're offered and what you accept are separate decisions. If your aid package includes a grant, a work-study opportunity, and student loans, you do not automatically have to accept everything simply because it appears in the package. Read the offer. Understand each type of aid. Then make a decision. The Pell Grant is one of the most important forms of federal aid for undergraduate students with financial need because it generally does not have to be repaid when eligibility requirements are met. That is very different from a loan. If a student qualifies for Pell and uses a transfer credit strategy to reduce the number of university courses needed, those two strategies can work together. Think about what we've been doing throughout this series. Suppose your degree requires 120 credits. You identify 30 credits your school will accept through approved alternative providers or credit by exam options. You have now potentially reduced the amount of university coursework remaining. Then you file the FAFSA and qualify for grant aid that can be applied to eligible educational costs at your institution. You didn't simply find cheaper courses. You reduced the amount of expensive coursework and investigated aid for the portion that remains. That's the larger strategy. The manuscript also identifies the Federal Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant, commonly called FSEOG, as another potential source of federal grant funding at participating schools for students with significant financial need. FSEOG is one reason timing matters. Some types of aid are connected to limited institutional funding. You don't want to treat financial aid like a task you complete whenever you eventually get around to it. Know the deadlines. Complete required applications. Respond when the school asks for documentation. Then check your student portal. I cannot emphasize the portal enough. Students will spend 3 hours searching for scholarships online and ignore a financial aid notification sitting inside their college account for 2 weeks. Verification requested. Document missing. Identity information needed. Residency question. Financial aid form incomplete. Scholarship application available. The money can be connected to paperwork. Check the paperwork. If your college sends a message saying something is missing, read it. If the financial aid office places a task on your account, find out what it needs. Don't assume the school will chase you forever. You are one student in a system handling thousands of aid files. Manage your own file. The FAFSA may also connect to work-study eligibility. Federal work-study provides part-time employment opportunities for eligible students through participating schools. The exact jobs and availability depend on the institution. Now, work-study is not free money deposited into your account simply because you're eligible. You work. You earn wages. But the employment is designed around students, and the jobs may be located on campus or connected to the school. For some students, that's useful. For others, it isn't. If you already work full-time and earn more through your current job, adding a work-study position may make no sense. If you're a traditional student looking for part-time employment that can fit around classes, it may be worth investigating. Again, the aid package is a set of options. Your job is to understand the options. Then we reach federal student loans. This is where I want you to slow down. A student loan can make college possible. It can also follow you long after you have forgotten the name of the professor teaching the course you borrowed money to take. The fact that a school offers you a certain loan amount does not mean you need to accept the entire amount. Read that again. Your financial aid offer is not a shopping limit. Suppose your college says you're eligible for several $1,000s in federal student loans. You calculate your actual tuition balance after grants and scholarships. You realize you only need part of the offered amount. You may be able to accept less, depending on your school's aid process. Why borrow money you don't need? Students sometimes accept the maximum because the money is available. A refund arrives. It feels like extra money. Then the loan statement arrives later. It wasn't extra money. It was debt. Federal student loans are generally divided into subsidized and unsubsidized loans for eligible undergraduate students. With a subsidized loan, the federal government pays the interest during certain periods, including while the student is enrolled at least half-time, subject to current federal rules. With an unsubsidized loan, interest begins accruing after disbursement. The playbook highlights this distinction because the two loan types do not create the same interest experience. If loans are necessary, understand what you're accepting. Look at the interest rate. Look at the amount. Look at the loan type. Look at your total federal student loan balance, not simply the amount for the current term. Then ask whether the course plan we've built can reduce future borrowing. Maybe you already have enough financial aid to cover your university term. Fine. But if you can complete approved transfer courses separately at a lower cost and shorten the number of terms you remain enrolled, you may reduce the number of future aid years or loan periods you need. The savings may not appear immediately. They appear when you graduate earlier. This is why the transfer credit strategy and the financial aid strategy should be built together. You need to understand how outside credits affect your academic plan, enrollment, financial aid eligibility, satisfactory academic progress, and residency requirements. Do not assume that completing alternative credits means you can randomly drop university courses in the middle of a term. Financial aid has enrollment rules. Your college may calculate aid based on your enrollment status. Dropping or withdrawing from courses can affect aid. Failing courses can affect satisfactory academic progress. Leaving school may trigger return of funds calculations under federal rules. The fast path still has rules. Talk to the financial aid office before making enrollment changes that could affect your aid. Alternative credit should be planned around the degree. It should not be used to create financial aid chaos. Now we need to talk about state aid. Your FAFSA information may also play a role in state grant or scholarship programs, although each state has its own processes and requirements. The original playbook uses programs such as New York's Tuition Assistance Program, California's Cal Grant programs, and Georgia's Hope Scholarship as examples of state-level aid students may encounter. The program available to you depends on where you live, where you attend school, your academic record, income rules, enrollment status, and other program-specific requirements. This is where residency can become financially important. A student moving between states may discover that residency rules affect tuition and state aid. A student attending an out-of-state school may have a different aid situation from someone attending an eligible institution within their home state. A student who recently relocated may need to document residency. Don't guess. Search your state's higher education agency. Then search your college's financial aid page. Look specifically for grants, promise programs, adult learner aid, workforce scholarships, high-demand field programs, and state tuition assistance. Your state may have money connected to the exact degree you're pursuing. Healthcare, teaching, cybersecurity, engineering, public service. Workforce shortages can create funding programs. If you're studying in a high-demand field, search the field and your state together. Don't just type college scholarships. That search is too broad. Search like a person trying to find money for one specific student. Your state. Your major. Your age or student status. Your employer. Your county. Your city. Your professional association. Your background. Your career goal. Specific searches reduce the noise. Now we move to institutional aid. This is money offered through the college or university itself. Students miss institutional aid because they assume filing the FAFSA automatically applies them to every scholarship at the school. Sometimes a college automatically considers students for certain awards. Sometimes it doesn't. Some scholarships require a separate application. Some require an essay. Some are connected to a department. Some are available only to continuing students. Some are for transfer students. Some are for adult learners. Some are connected to a specific major. The playbook emphasizes that institutional aid may be need-based, merit-based, or a combination of both, and that colleges may maintain separate scholarship applications outside the FAFSA process. Go to your school's website. Search the word scholarships. Then search financial aid. Then search your academic department. If you're studying health information management, search the health information management department. If you're studying nursing, search nursing scholarships. If you're in business, search the business school. If you're studying education, search teacher scholarships. The university's general scholarship page is not always the entire scholarship system. Departments may have money. Foundations connected to the college may have money. Alumni groups may fund awards. Professional associations may partner with programs. A scholarship may be buried on a page you never visit because you've spent all your time searching national databases. Start close to home. Your college already knows what you're studying. Your department already knows the career field. The applicant pool for a small departmental scholarship may be much narrower than the applicant pool for a national no-essay scholarship promoted to millions of students. That doesn't mean the departmental award is easy. It means you're competing inside a more relevant group. Let's say you're an adult student studying healthcare administration. A national scholarship may be open to every college student in the country. A departmental scholarship may be limited to students at your university enrolled in a healthcare-related program who meet a particular GPA requirement. Which application deserves your attention? Both may be worth applying to. But the second one is a much more targeted opportunity. This is why your scholarship strategy needs layers. Start with your school. Then your department. Then your state. Then local organizations. Then professional associations. Then employers. Then larger scholarship databases. Most students do the exact opposite. They open a giant scholarship website and apply for a $10,000 award with 50,000 other people. Then they get discouraged when they don't win. The problem isn't applying for large scholarships. Apply. The problem is ignoring smaller targeted opportunities. A $500 scholarship can pay for books. A $1,000 scholarship can cover fees or reduce a tuition balance. 3 smaller awards can become meaningful quickly. The manuscript specifically recommends applying for multiple smaller private scholarships because awards in the $500 to $1,000 range can stack and help with costs such as books, fees, or housing. Students often say a $500 scholarship isn't worth the effort. Then they put a $500 textbook bill on a credit card. Make that make sense. If an application requires 6 hours of work for $500, you can decide whether the time is worth it. But many smaller scholarship applications reuse the same basic information. Your academic goal. Your career plan. A challenge you've overcome. Leadership. Community service. Why the degree matters. How the scholarship would help. You should not rewrite your life story from zero every time. Build a scholarship file. Create a folder on your computer. Save a clean resume. Save an unofficial transcript if appropriate for planning purposes, and know how to request an official transcript when required. Write a strong 200-word biography. Write a 500-word version. Create a career goal essay. Create a leadership essay. Create an adversity or challenge essay. Create a community impact essay. Create a paragraph explaining your financial need without turning your application into a tragedy competition. Then save them. You are building source material. When a scholarship asks how your education will affect your community, you already have material. When another asks about your career goals, you have material. You tailor the answer to the question. You do not copy and paste blindly. But you also do not stare at a blank screen 40 times. This changes scholarship applications from a major event into a weekly routine. The playbook recommends setting aside regular time to search and apply for private scholarships rather than treating the process as a one-time search. Its strategy is to combine federal and state aid, institutional awards, private scholarships, and lower-cost transfer credit instead of expecting one funding source to carry the entire degree. I would treat scholarships like applications for money. Because that's what they are. Set a target. Maybe 3 applications a week. Maybe 5 a month. Maybe you spend every Sunday morning applying. The exact number depends on your schedule. But track them. Create a spreadsheet. Scholarship name. Organization. Award amount. Deadline. Requirements. Essay needed. Transcript needed. Recommendation needed. Date submitted. Decision date. Result. If you win, record the award. If you don't, move on. Do not emotionally attach yourself to every application. You are building volume around targeted opportunities. There's a difference between random volume and targeted volume. Random volume is applying to every scholarship you see. Targeted volume is identifying awards where you actually fit the eligibility criteria and consistently submitting strong applications. You may be an adult learner. Search adult learner scholarships. You may be returning to college after stopping. Search returning student scholarships. You may be studying healthcare. Search healthcare scholarships. You may be a member of a professional association. Search its education foundation. You may work for a major employer. Check tuition assistance. You may have a union benefit. Check education benefits. Your parent may belong to an organization offering dependent scholarships. You may live in a county with a community foundation. Search it. Your local credit union may offer scholarships. Your electric cooperative may offer scholarships. Your church or community organization may offer scholarships. Your high school alumni association may have an award. The scholarship isn't always hiding on a national website. Sometimes it's sitting 20 minutes from your house. Private scholarship databases can still be useful. The playbook identifies scholarship search sources including bold.org, Niche, FastWeb, Scholarship America, scholarships.com, Big Future, Access Scholarships, and Get Schooled. Use databases to discover opportunities. But pay attention to the application destination and the organization offering the award. Never pay someone to guarantee you a scholarship. Be careful with requests for sensitive information. Research the organization. Read the eligibility requirements. Know what you're submitting. And don't let scholarship searches turn into another form of procrastination. Some students spend 6 hours saving scholarship links and apply to none of them. A saved scholarship does not pay tuition. Submit the application. Now let's talk about merit aid because students misunderstand this too. Merit scholarships are not always reserved for the student who graduated high school with a perfect GPA at 17. Colleges may award merit money based on academic performance, transfer achievement, leadership, professional experience, talent, or other criteria established by the institution. Adult students should not automatically exclude themselves. Transfer students should not automatically exclude themselves. Online students should check their school's specific scholarship rules. Graduate students should investigate their academic program and professional school. The original playbook uses examples ranging from undergraduate institutional scholarships to competitive graduate and professional school awards to show how different institutional aid can look. The point is not to copy those exact examples forever. Scholarship amounts and programs change. The point is to understand that your school may have its own funding system. You need current information from the school you're attending. This is also where timing becomes critical. Some institutional scholarships have priority deadlines months before the academic year begins. You cannot apply in August for an award that closed in February and then complain that nobody told you. Build a calendar. FAFSA date. State aid deadline. Institutional scholarship deadline. Department scholarship deadline. Private scholarship deadline. Renewal deadline. If an award requires a recommendation letter, give the person time. Do not email a professor at 11:43 p.m. saying the scholarship closes in 17 minutes. Plan. Ask early. Keep a general list of people who may be willing to write recommendations. Professor. Supervisor. Volunteer coordinator. Professional mentor. Then make the request specific. Tell them what you're applying for. Give them the deadline. Give them your resume. Give them the scholarship information. Remind them of the work or experience they know you from. Make it easy for someone to write a useful letter about you. Now let's connect all of this back to alternative credit. Suppose you're attending a university where you still need 60 credits. You identify 30 transferable credits you can complete through approved lower cost options. That leaves 30 credits at the university. Now you file the FAFSA. You receive federal grant aid. Your state offers an eligible tuition program. Your college awards a small institutional scholarship. You win 2 private scholarships. Look at what just happened. You did not find one magical full-ride scholarship. You built a funding stack. This is the part students need to understand. Debt-free college may not arrive in one envelope. It may arrive in pieces. 3,000 here. 1,000 there. 500 for books. A state program reducing tuition. 30 credits completed outside the university at a lower cost. A work benefit paying part of the remaining balance. The pieces work together. The College Credit Playbook gives an example of a student combining Pell Grant funding, a private scholarship, an institutional award, 30 Sophia credits, and 12 CLEP credits. The manuscript's point is that aid and alternative credit can be combined to reduce both tuition and the time needed to finish the degree. The exact dollar amounts in an example are not a promise. Your aid will depend on your eligibility. Your transfer credit depends on your school. Your scholarships depend on the awards you receive. But the strategy is repeatable. Reduce the number of expensive credits. Apply for aid. Search for institutional money. Apply for private scholarships. Borrow only what you actually need. Then repeat the process every academic year. Yes, repeat. The FAFSA is an annual process. Scholarships may require renewal. State aid may require another application or continued eligibility. Institutional awards may have GPA requirements. Financial aid can be affected by satisfactory academic progress. Winning money once does not mean you can ignore the rules afterward. Know the renewal requirements. If a scholarship requires a 3.0 GPA, track your GPA. If a state program requires full-time enrollment, understand what the program considers full-time. If an award requires community service, complete the hours and document them. If your federal aid requires satisfactory academic progress under your school's policy, pay attention to both grades and course completion. This matters for students trying to accelerate. Speed can create a dangerous mindset. You start completing courses quickly. Then you overload the university term. You register for more than you can realistically handle. You withdraw from courses. You fail a class. Suddenly the financial aid strategy is damaged because the academic plan became reckless. Faster is useful. Out of control is not. Your goal is sustainable acceleration. Use alternative credit to remove approved requirements. Use aid to cover eligible college costs. Keep the university course load at a level you can successfully complete. You do not need to prove your commitment by making your life impossible. A student taking 2 university courses and completing approved alternative credits around them may move faster than a student who registers for 5 university courses, fails 2, withdraws from 1, and spends the next term repairing their academic record. Count completed requirements, not ambitious registrations. There's another financial aid mistake I want to address. Refund checks. When financial aid exceeds the amount immediately applied to institutional charges, a student may receive a credit balance under applicable aid rules and school procedures. Students call it a refund. The word refund can make it sound like the college gave you money. You need to know where the money came from. If the credit balance includes student loan funds, part of that money is borrowed. You may be using debt to pay living or educational expenses. That can be a legitimate decision. Students need housing, transportation, a computer, childcare, food. School can reduce work hours. But know what you're doing. Look at the aid breakdown. How much came from grants? How much came from scholarships? How much came from loans? If you receive a large refund built partly from loans, don't treat it like a bonus. You are borrowing. The future version of you is paying for the current version of you. Make sure the expense is worth that trade. This is another reason scholarships matter. A $500 scholarship may not look dramatic on Instagram. But if that $500 replaces $500 you would otherwise borrow, the value continues beyond the award itself. You avoided the principal. You may also avoid interest connected to that principal. Small awards can matter. Apply. Now, what if you don't qualify for need-based aid? File the FAFSA when appropriate and check the current requirements of your school and the scholarships you're pursuing. Some institutional processes use FAFSA information even when the student is not receiving a Pell Grant. The playbook specifically warns students not to skip the FAFSA solely because they assume their income is too high, noting that some schools may use it in connection with institutional or merit aid processes. Then shift your search. Merit aid. Department scholarships. Professional organizations. Employer tuition assistance. Tuition reimbursement. Private scholarships. State workforce programs. Credit by exam. Alternative transfer credit. Community college pathways. You still have tools. Maybe your employer offers $5,000 a year in tuition assistance. That benefit may be more valuable than a small raise you're chasing somewhere else. Check the employee handbook. Search the benefits portal. Ask human resources. Find out whether the benefit is reimbursement after course completion or direct payment. Find out whether there is a grade requirement. Find out which schools or programs are eligible. Find out whether you need manager approval before enrolling. Do this before the course starts. Nothing is more irritating than discovering your employer would have paid for a course if you had submitted one form 30 days earlier. If you're job hunting and you know you want to finish a degree, tuition assistance can be part of the compensation comparison. Company A pays $1 more per hour. Company B offers a substantial education benefit you can actually use. Calculate both. Your degree is a financial project. Treat it like one. By now, you should have 2 worksheets. The first is your degree plan. It shows the requirements, transfer options, providers, equivalencies, and completion status. The second is your funding plan. It should show estimated university cost, grants, state aid, institutional scholarships, private scholarships, employer assistance, expected out-of-pocket cost, and any loans you plan to use. Now put them together. If you remove a university course through verified transfer credit, update the cost plan. If you win a scholarship, update the funding plan. If your grant changes, update it. If you change enrollment, check with financial aid and update the plan. You should be able to look at the numbers and understand where your college money is coming from. Not vaguely. Exactly. This is how you avoid reaching the end of a term and suddenly realizing you owe the school $3,000. Know the balance. Know the deadlines. Know the funding. Know the remaining requirements. College becomes much less mysterious when you start tracking it. The financial aid system can be complicated. Scholarships can be competitive. Transfer policies can be frustrating. But the worst strategy is ignoring all of it and paying the first tuition bill you see. Your first price is not always your final price. File the FAFSA. Check state aid. Search your college. Search your department. Check your employer. Search local organizations. Use scholarship databases. Apply consistently. Track every application. Then use the alternative credit strategy from the earlier chapters to reduce the amount of college you're trying to finance in the first place. That is the connection. Financial aid helps pay for college. Alternative credit can reduce how much college you need to pay the university for. Scholarships can cover the gaps. Employer assistance may reduce the balance again. Loans should be understood and used deliberately when needed. You're not searching for one solution. You're building a stack. The next chapter takes this strategy even further because some colleges and programs begin with a completely different promise. Tuition may already be covered. We're looking at tuition-free colleges, what free actually means, and the requirements students often miss before assuming the entire cost of attendance disappears.